Once upon a time, in a quaint village nestled between rolling hills and dense forests, lived a young peasant named Tomas. Tomas was known throughout the village for his cheerful demeanor and his love for talking. He could chat endlessly about anything and everything, from the weather to the latest happenings in the village. While his chatter often brought joy and entertainment to others, it sometimes got him into trouble. One day, a grand announcement was made in the village square. The king was hosting a grand banquet at his castle, inviting people from all walks of life to join in the festivities. It was a rare opportunity for common folk to mingle with the nobility and even have a chance to speak with the king himself. Tomas was thrilled and decided to attend, hoping to make a good impression on the king and the court. On the day of the banquet, Tomas dressed in his finest clothes and made his way to the castle. The grandeur of the event was beyond anything he had ever seen. Nobles in their lavish attire, tables laden with exotic foods, and the sound of music filled the air. Tomas was in awe and couldn't wait to engage in conversations with everyone. As the evening progressed, Tomas found himself standing before the king. This was his chance to make an impression. The king, a wise and reserved man, asked Tomas a simple question about his life in the village. Excited and nervous, Tomas began to talk and talk and talk. He rambled on about the village, his family, his daily routines, and even shared trivial details about his neighbors. The king listened patiently at first, but as Tomas continued to prattle on, the king's interest waned. The other nobles, noticing the king's disinterest, began to lose patience as well. Tomas, oblivious to the changing mood, kept speaking, thinking he was making a good impression with his extensive storytelling. After what felt like an eternity, the king raised his hand, signaling Tomas to stop. "Thank you for sharing, young man," the king said, his tone polite but firm. "But remember, wisdom often lies in brevity." Tomas, confused and a bit embarrassed, bowed and stepped away. He spent the rest of the evening reflecting on the king's words. He realized that in his eagerness to impress, he had overwhelmed the king with unnecessary details. He had failed to recognize the value of saying less. The next day, Tomas returned to his village, determined to learn from his mistake. He started to practice speaking less and listening more. He discovered that by doing so, people were more interested in what he had to say, and he was able to learn more from them as well. He found that conversations became more meaningful, and that he could convey his thoughts more effectively with fewer words. Over time, Tomas became known for his wisdom and thoughtful speech. The villagers often sought his advice, and even the local lord took notice of his newfound demeanor. One day, Tomas was invited back to the castle, this time to serve as an advisor to the king. Standing before the king once again, Tomas felt a sense of déjà vu. But this time, when the king asked him a question, Tomas chose his words carefully. He spoke succinctly, conveying his thoughts with clarity and brevity. The king nodded in approval, clearly impressed. "Tomas," the king said, "you have learned a valuable lesson. Always say less than necessary. Words are powerful, but their power diminishes when they are used carelessly." Tomas bowed, grateful for the king's wisdom and the opportunity to redeem himself. From that day forward, he served as a trusted advisor, guiding the king and the kingdom with his newfound understanding of the power of words. And so, the young peasant learned the value of law number 4. Always say less than necessary, and it changed his life forever.